We hear a lot about glow ups, right? The new look, the new routine, the new job. But today, we're going to talk about a different kind of glow up, one that's a lot quieter. It's not about what anyone else sees, it's about how you feel on the inside. It's that feeling of clarity and peace when your head hits the pillow. So, yeah, let's get into it. You know that feeling, right, where you just feel heavy or maybe a little foggy? You can't really point to one big thing that's wrong, but your mood is just off. It's this super common feeling, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack. And the answer to that heavy feeling is something called emotional hygiene. Look, think of it like this. We shower, we brush our teeth, we clean our bodies every day. Well, our minds collect just as much gunk, and they need a little daily cleaning too. It's just a simple practice to process and let go of all the emotional stuff we pick up all day. So, how does all this emotional weight even build up? Let's use a little metaphor that makes it crystal clear: the invisible backpack. Okay, so just imagine. Every single morning, you start your day with a pretty light, maybe even empty backpack. But as you move through your day, little things start getting tossed inside. That work email that made your stomach clench for a second, that's a little rock in the backpack. That text you got that you weren't quite sure how to answer, yep, another little rock. And then maybe you're scrolling social media and you feel that quick little pang of comparison or self-doubt. Boom, another rock gets tossed in. You barely even notice it happening, but it's there. And that's the absolute key right there. One little rock is no big deal. You can carry that all day. But hundreds of them, day after day, that accumulation is what leaves you feeling so exhausted. This buildup actually has a name. It's called emotional residue. It's all that unprocessed data from conversations, from other people's expectations, from your own thoughts. It's the real reason you can feel so off, even when, on paper, nothing is actually wrong. So why can't we just shake it off? Well, our brains are basically designed for survival, not for inner peace. When something emotionally charged happens, your brain flags it and stores it away, thinking it's protecting you from future danger. It's not great at telling the difference between a real threat and, just emotional discomfort. So let's talk about what actually happens when that backpack gets too full. Because it's not just about feeling a little tired. The costs are real, even if they're kind of hidden. It starts to affect our mood, our decisions, and honestly, even who we think we are. And this is where we get it so wrong. We start telling ourselves stories. We think, oh, I'm just an anxious person, when really, we're just carrying too much emotional weight. We call it laziness when it's actually mental exhaustion. Our relationships feel strained, not because we don't care, but because our emotional cup is just full. Now, this is a really important point. The goal here is not to ignore your feelings or just slap on a happy face. That's called suppression, and all it does is pack that tension down even tighter. The goal is release. Emotional hygiene isn't about feeling less, it's about processing what you feel so you can dissolve that tension. Okay, so we get the problem. The backpack is heavy, but the good news is the solution isn't complicated at all. Now we're going to get into the toolkit, a bunch of super simple daily habits that act like an emotional reset button for your nervous system. Here are 6 incredibly simple resets you can use. And I mean simple. These are not huge, time-consuming rituals. They're quick, practical things designed to just gently rinse your mind out at the end of the day. Let's start with the 3-line journal. Forget about writing pages and pages. This is just 3 lines. What happened, how you felt about it, and what you need now. That third step, what you need now, is the magic key. It flips a switch in your brain from just replaying the problem to finding a way to care for yourself. It stops the loop. Next up is something called the mental closure technique. It literally could not be simpler. At the end of your day, you just say to yourself, today is finished. I know, it sounds almost too simple, but psychologically, it's so powerful. Your brain loves completion. That simple phrase is like closing all the open tabs in your mind, telling it that it's okay to stop processing the day. Remember, emotions don't just live in your head, they're stored in your body. So, one of the fastest ways to let them go is through some gentle movement. As you can see, things like deep breathing, a little stretching, or even a slow walk are unbelievably effective. In just a couple of minutes, they tell your nervous system, hey, you're safe, and help it shift out of that high alert state. Okay, this one is more of a preventative reset. It's about emotional boundaries. We absorb the stress and moods of other people all the time without even realizing it. So just reminding yourself, not everything I feel belongs to me, helps you notice and release energy that isn't even yours to begin with before it gets stuck in your backpack. So, as we wrap this up, let's just zoom out to the main takeaway. The real power of emotional hygiene isn't in some grand gesture. It's in the small, consistent habits. You wouldn't skip brushing your teeth for a week and then brush for an hour on Sunday to make up for it, right? It just doesn't work that way. Emotional hygiene is exactly the same. It's a daily, gentle rinse. It's the consistency that creates the big change, not the intensity. And what's the payoff for this tiny daily practice? Oh, it's huge. When you clear out all that emotional clutter, you start to think more clearly. You find yourself responding to things more calmly instead of just reacting. And you start to hear your own intuition again, rebuilding that trust in yourself. I really want you to let this one sink in. For so long, we've been taught that being strong means bottling things up or not feeling them at all. But true emotional strength is the total opposite. It's having the skill to process and release what you feel effectively. And finally, please remember this. Your peace of mind isn't some reward you get for having a perfect week or hitting a huge goal. It's like a garden that you have to tend to every single day with small, caring actions. It's all about maintenance. So I'll leave you with this question. Not to overhaul your whole routine, but just to start somewhere. What's one small reset you can try tonight? Maybe the 3-line journal, a 2-minute stretch. Just pick one and see what it feels like to gently clean your mind.